or they've simply not risen.
Sometimes people might ask the question, well, wait a minute, we bring all of these women into the workforce, we train them and all of stuff, and then they leave. Well, people seem to think that, and then they leave, is something that they had no control over. That's not what happened. Women begin to see their male peers getting promoted faster than them. They begin to see who gets the mentors, who got that special assignment, or who gets the bigger client. So all of these things add up. And she goes, well, you know, I'm putting a lot of effort in, I'm working long hours, and I'm seeing, you know, my male colleagues just go right past me, and I know I'm just as qualified as they are. So it looks much more attractive for me to go do something else.
And every organization needs to identify and understand the hurdles they'll have to jump in order to solve that problem.
So if we want to stem this huge leakage of talent, what are the barriers in the leaking pipeline that we need to overcome?
If you take an Indian perspective, women have come to believe that they have a certain role, and therefore they exclude themselves from advancement and a long career. The second one is by men who, without being necessarily conscious of it, don't become inclusive, and they become like a little club where women are kept out. And the third one is society, which sets roles and expectations, and it embeds them deeply into people's minds.
And we can only change those expectations through education.
Are there particular barriers to women's progress and advancement in South African society? I think absolutely there are. Access to education has perhaps not been affordable, especially for the majority of young women.
I think the message of second chance, adult learning education that is targeted to proper skilling is, for me, one of the things that I would really, really urge.
I think that we have to persist in campaigns, in changing education, to change this way of thinking that men are superior of women.
So where you want to get to, as I've said before, is you want to have a level playing field so that you discriminate only on the basis of performance. What you need to do is you need to upskill your women so that they are at that level playing field.
And confidence is a key factor here.
Arab women, like many women elsewhere, we do not have enough confidence in ourselves, in our abilities.
The fundamental issue I think that women have around the globe with women that I've dealt with is a lack of confidence in their own ability. And I think that that's a lack of confidence that men generally don't have.
Confidence is really essential in the workplace. And so women may not ask for promotions or ask for raises. They may not raise their hand and say, boy, I've just done a great job on something, you know, whereas men will say, oh, you know, I just created the Statue of Liberty here, you know, in my spare time.
Very often if women are going for the next promotion, they will only go for it if they feel that they fulfill all of the criteria, all of the requirements, 100%. Whereas men will typically say, oh, well, I can do 60% of those. I'll learn the rest on the job.
Another key barrier for women is a lack of mentoring.
We know that people who get to the top, in part, get there because they're mentored. And there's a long history of research to show that women are not mentored as much as men are. And that's primarily because cross-sex mentoring is uncomfortable.
Men are often a little scared about how to speak to a woman about career, where they're headed, how family incorporates into that, because they're scared to make mistakes. We've gone so far in terms of talking about discrimination and discrimination legislation, litigation, that it's actually put men off.
When you have women in positions of power, they are more likely to be able to mentor other women and bring them along. They can also mentor men, and so men get more comfortable having women as leaders in the organization.
Another barrier to career advancement can be motherhood.
An Arab man, if he's interviewing a man and a woman for the same job, he will decide to say, no, I'm going to give the job to the male candidate because I believe that she will have children eventually and will not be interested in her work.
In a country like Japan and Italy, to take two examples, where it is very difficult for women to combine working with having children, female employment and fertility both tend to be much lower. But in the Scandinavian economies, where women, the society is set up in a way that facilitates them both to work and also to have children, both tend to be higher.
Countries that make it easier for parents to combine work and family see a double benefit. They see not only higher economic growth through women's greater participation in the labour force, but they also see higher birth rates.
So ask yourselves, have you fostered a conducive environment? Have you created opportunities for stretch assignments, for mentoring? What is the rate of promotion and progress of the men in your workforce compared to the women?